Hello everyone, it's Miss Darling in the studio once again. Welcome. Today I'm going to cover one of my favorite crafts that I make, and I guess it's my favorite because it's so highly textured, and I love the colors that I was working with that I'm going to show you today. They're all neutrals, and so they have a lot of flexibility on how they can be used in journals as decoration, for instance, for a cover, or creating postcards and small pieces of art. Anyway, let's have fun. Let me show you what I've made so far, and then we'll attempt to make another one. Okay, first off, let me feature the small art that I've made, which, were it not for the depth of the focal point, which is a small river pebble, because of the depth, it's a little hard to insert this into a journal because it will kind of make it, your page won't lie flat against the other pages. But as just a standalone art piece, it's just beautiful. Anyway, I purchased the background, our small 4x6 handmade paper. You can tell it's handmade because it's deckled all around all four sides, and it's made on purpose to be this size. And I bought this off of Amazon some while ago. I don't know if it's still available. They had it in this color and a tan color, and I purchased both, but when I was making these I chose to use only the natural color. Anyway, you can see that it's very highly textured, using burlap and some, I don't know what this is called. This may be off of some of the raffia that I have. There's a piece of coffee dyed text paper included in this one, and then I sewed a pebble in the middle for a focal point. So I've done several, and I vary the burlap, the colors, how it's situated. The pebble is always different. Sometimes it's a single pebble, and in this one there's 3 pebbles. And I just let my feeling at the time I'm making it determine what I'm going to use for a focal point. There's a little bit of lace, kind of a it's not a frilly lace, it's textured lace that is in there behind the pebbles, and some various other stuff. I purchased several different bags of highly textured material, I believe off of Etsy, and you can just do a targeted search and find several people that have this type of thing for sale. You do have to buy, a whole spool of ribbon, for instance, or you have to buy a bag, and you might not want to do that. But if you just want small quantities, then I suggest you visit your art supply stores, or, Michael's, or a store like that, that will sell small quantities of whatever it is. Anyway, I'll show you what I have later, but I just wanted to show you the different little pieces of art that I made, and it's very fun. Let me get in frame. It's very fun to make, and just very satisfying. And I could put a backing board on and stand it up on a small stand and let it breathe on its own and use as decoration in my home. Or I'll probably make some of these for sale at some point. Now I also have clusters that I've made, and let me talk about this one first. This one was the same idea, and you can kind of see that for the art piece it's just a larger cluster. And so here's one that I made as a cluster, and there are 3 pebbles, and it's just a couple pieces of burlap in different colors. I have a tan, or they may refer to it as natural, and I have black, and then some assorted texture material, and then the pebbles, don't just glue them on. I suggest you sew them in place, because they're just the type of thing that's not going to stay in place. And so sewing it helps give it a little bit more protection. So then these, I switched my focal point, and I had some tall, I don't know, I guess they're called skewers. Can't remember where I got them from. I maybe saw them at Walmart. Anyway, they were long, and so I broke them into thirds, painted them with a silver metallic paint, and then sewed them in place. And so I have this one, and this one, and this one. Here I used a different color of thread. I sew them in place with embroidery thread. So I used 3 different colors of thread on this, but you can see that the concept is the same. Then I have clusters that I made with a simple satin ribbon in the background. I think I would prefer not using the satin. I just don't like the shininess of it. It seems to take away from the rustic feel, but that's all I had on hand. So anyway, there's I think two ribbons here, and then some raffia tied up into a bundle and glued on top. Here I have torn fabric on top of the ribbon, and then another ribbon tied into a bow. And here we're back to the raffia to keep it rough and tough and all that good stuff. So then I also, I don't know, sometime last year, I think, I purchased a group of 100 postcards. They were just white with the address and a square there for the stamp and a place for a message, and then you could decorate on the other side. Anyway, I bought these in bulk, I think 150 or 100, and then I coffee dyed the postage side and then decorated, well, I guess I coffee dyed both sides, but then I decorated the other side with some of the tribal African type papers that I had handmade, and a couple of my handmade stamps. And so here's another one that I did, threw a little bit of lace in there, and okay, the same with this one. So it's just full of some of my stamps and some lace and a piece of grungy looking paper in the back to, give it a nice strong overall design. So, but you see, they're all postcards, and would make a nifty grouping if you made several of these. Would make a nifty grouping for a journal that has similar colors and this type of theme throughout, and or mail them out to friends and family. use them as an announcement of a show you're going to be doing, or an upcoming video, or whatever it is that you're involved in. These would make really unusual postcards to put in the mail. So anyway, that's what we're going to be dealing with today, is something along this line. And so let me show you some of the products I will use. Here is a piece that I cut off of a very textured table runner that I knew I wasn't probably going to use, and so I started cutting it up. I can use either side, and so that's pretty handy. Here's my roll of neutral or natural burlap. Comes in a roll. You can buy these several different ways, and here's what I have still in the black. I love this. This is a very highly textured, I think I'm too far up. This is very highly textured. It was in the ribbon section at Walmart. So you might, if you like this, you might check your local Walmart to see if they're carrying it. I think I better recheck. I've used it so much, I need to go back and see if I can get some more. I will use, here's like a torn piece from a brown paper bag. Here's a piece of something I purchased from one of the Etsy shops, and you can see it's kind of gnarly and very textured. So that's something good. I have several different types of things. Here's a little bundle from the raffia. I found 3 of these in a package at a thrift shop for $1, so I grabbed them up, and so you can find different things that you want to use in small quantity instead of having to buy in bulk. So in this plastic bag, I put a selection of everything that I currently have, so that I didn't want to have to haul out each separate thing to look for something, and I wanted to be able to remember all the different things that I do have. So I just cut off a small section of each and put them all as a sample into this large plastic bag. So here's some of the kind of a string type thing. I have no idea what any of this is called. Here's some kind of an off-white, I don't know, it's very hair-like. And so, there's that. And I have also gone out into my yard and snipped off various small stems that had died and are now, quite dark and sturdy. I mean, they're no longer, pliable, but they're great to just glue down on something to help add more texture, or you could even bundle some of this together if you have enough and use as a focal point on something. But this is just free from the yard. And if you don't have anything in your yard, or you don't have a yard, go to your local park and look around. If there's trees, there's going to be debris that has fallen off, that has died, and is perfect to pick up and use. Just make sure you don't get anything super bulky that would be hard to utilize. And particularly if you're looking to decorate a journal, you want it to be as thin as possible, and not have any more bulk on a page than is absolutely necessary, so your journal lies reasonably flat. So this, I just have to pull this out from the basket where I keep everything, and then I know exactly what I've got to work with, and it's just a lot easier to remember, because as you make them, you want to have variety. You don't want them all to look exactly the same. Now, as for the pebbles, I bought, this is called Panacea Decorative Accents, and I don't know whether I got this in a hardware store, an art supply store, or Walmart, or whatever, but you can see it's a tall container just full of small pebbles. And if you like working with the pebbles, you want to get them try to find one where you see that there's a lot that look pretty flat, because again, this will add bulk to anything that you plan on using in a journal. And then I haven't done anything with this yet. I've had it for some while. I got this at a thrift store for $2, and it's actually potpourri, and has a nice fragrance to it. But anyway, it's got these little pine cone type things in it. Now, this is bulky, but you could break them down so they're smaller, or maybe even smash them so that they're flatter. And so, you can consider using them to make focal points. What else is in here? This would be too thick to use unless it's on artwork, but not for a journal. Here's some actual little pine cones. So, I probably wouldn't, if I'm doing something rustic, I probably would not use anything like this, which is a little more, too decorative and Christmassy to me. But, yeah, I think I'll see what I can pull from in here to use what we're going to make today, whatever that winds up being. What's this? Oh, here's something that looks like some sort of dried floral. Again, it's rather thick, so I think if I use it, I'll break it apart and use, just bits of it, so I avoid that bulk. That's too big, but here's some smaller things that are possibly usable. Anyway, we'll see. So anyway, consider potpourri maybe. So, what do you want me to make? Shout out in the comments what you want me to make. Of course, it will be too late, because I will have already decided. And, but anyway, it's a way of me getting you to comment. Anyway, so, I'm just going to let's see. I think I'll make a cluster because those are the most usable. And so maybe I'll use one of this as a back substrate. Okay, so I think I will use this as my background for a change. So I want my cluster to be about, I don't know, that tall. So I'm just going to cut across. This, of course, is too wide. So I can turn this into two coordinated clusters. Okay. So I'm going to need some fabric glue here. I use Fabrifix. And I see I need to come down. Okay. So I think I'm going to tear off a bit of this. And do I want to use, yeah, I'll go for a bit over here too. And I think we'll use a snippet of this. After all, I think I'm going to put these onto a burlap backing after all. Okay, you can see how quickly and easily you can put something together once you have the appropriate supplies. If you don't have anything in-house, it's pretty difficult to, well, it's actually impossible to make something. So the more you build up your supplies, the easier it will be for you to, you know, make something at the drop of a hat and have the flexibility to do that. So these are so similar all the way to this point that I feel the need to change up my focal point from one to the other. I don't want them to be so repetitive that they're not viewed as an individual art piece on their own. So we're going to do that with this one, and then something different. Maybe use a little of the, where's my big sack here? I think we'll use a little raffia on the other one. Got to switch scissors here. Let's add a little bit of light color on there. I think I'll switch these. Since I went light over here, I need something darker for a focal point. And yeah, I can live with that. What do you think? Let me know in the comments section. And so now I'll just start from the reverse and start gluing everything down. I like that I've got some fringe on the end of this from that table runner. Okay. And I think we're going to do the raffia next. This will be a little trick. I think I may have to take some embroidery thread and tie a little bundle here. So it's easier to glue on. And, you know, because you won't be able to catch every little thing there with glue, you need something to keep it from falling away as time goes on. Okay, I'm even going to let the threads hang off. So now it will be captured underneath another piece of the rough this here. So, you know, maybe I should have, well, I'll just slip that in down the side. Okay, now this is a little trickier because there's so much air there. I try to look for some of the places where it seems to attach one part to another and hit that spot with glue. So, and then and I like to take some Kleenex or some cloth or something when you know there's going to be a lot of glue oozing out the side of something, and use that to help press it down, and so you don't get your fingers all covered in glue, which is, I mean, you can get it off, but it just feels kind of icky the rest of the time you're crafting until you can clean it off. Okay. So, okay. And then now lastly, I will come in with this. Where best to glue it? I guess right here. I'm going to look for a place that's a bit indented so I can get it as low as possible. And I think I'll break off some more of this and this is clearly some kind of plant-based material that's been dried and turned into turned into what did I call that before? My verbiage escapes me. Okay, now after that sets up, it should be quite sturdy, and you can see what we got for the finish. Okay, now we'll do the other one. If you want to hang in a little while longer, this will be very similar yet different. Excuse me. So I'll put this down early on. I like working with angles from time to time. Since this can pull apart, it's best to put it down when you can still lay something over on top of it. Love that. And we are back to this again. I love it, but it is a little tricky gluing it down. You could, sew it in place, but how time consuming would that be? Don't know that it would be worth it. Need to clean this off. All right, remember the other one we used part of this. This time I'm going to see about using this for a bit of a focal point. At this stage, you know, if I was going to use pebbles, it would be at this stage that I would pull out what I'm going to use and go ahead and sew them on. You could put a little bit of glue on first to hold it in place, but then do come back and sew this on, since it's an important part of the overall design, and you want it to definitely stay in place. But anyway, so there you have it, a couple of large clusters, highly textured in neutral colors that could be used in almost any journal that you're making, and just really fun to make and explore. Your creativity is as unlimited as your ability to move things around and change things up, but also the materials that you choose to work with. And so there's many more different types of things than what I have. And, you know, just explore the internet or your crafting stores for various materials that appeal to you, and just have a lot of fun and get as creative as you can. So I think that'll do it for this video, and thanks for being here. Oh, let me just love having you here. Love having you comment and give me your thoughts and feelings and suggestions. That not only helps me, it helps anybody who lands on the video. So do share it, and thanks again for being here. This is Miss Darling calling this a wrap. Bye-bye.